you ever caught yourself thinking, but I'm helping? Or she's upset and I have no idea why? This episode is going to give you X-ray vision into what your wife might be carrying as far as resentment, or as far as maybe you feel like she's pushing you away, or maybe there's just some tension and you don't understand why. Gentlemen, welcome to the Dad Edge podcast. I'm Larry Hagner. I am your host and founder of this podcast, this show, and movement. Listen, you bring home the money. You're probably taking out the trash. You show up to all the soccer games, but somehow, some way, she's still overwhelmed and she's emotionally distant. Here's the hard truth. Financially providing is one way we lead in families, but the emotional labor is the currency that she's drowning in. And if you don't see it, you're part of the reason she feels alone. I know that probably sounds unfair. And I know that probably sounds like, well, wait a second, like I do this and I do that, and I do this and I do that. And here's the thing, unless we communicate these things, and unless we see things, and unless we lead, co-lead in the relationship, she's going to feel like she manages a lot. She probably is going to feel like she's managing more of the household than you are. It's just kind of the way relationships unfortunately go. And if we really look at the statistics of marriage, you know, the divorce rate's 50%. You guys have heard me talk about the fact that only about 9% of couples that say I do, that walk down the aisle, can actually identify their relationship as working. That's really sad. It's really sad. But we see this all the time, and we almost normalize it, and not almost normalize it. We do normalize it. We're just like, well, you know, I've been married for, 5 years. So, sex is kind of out the window. It's kind of old, we're kind of roommates. We kind of talk logistics. I mean, we kind of like our ships like passing in the night. And yeah, of course I want more, but that's not what marriage is. Marriage is like a slow death of the relationship and, becoming strangers. And you know what? That does not have to be the case. It doesn't have to be the case at all. This podcast today is going to give you a little bit more probably of what's going on between your wife's ears in her mind. Okay. And this is a topic that we've been studying in the Dad Edge community for quite some time. And I can tell you, man, it's absolutely true. And I know that some of the things I'm going to talk to you guys about today, like invisible labor, physical effort, why your wife probably feels like she's doing it all, why she's harboring resentment towards you, why maybe she's throwing maybe these little digs towards you of resentment, some things she might be saying to you, and you're like, damn, like, why is she talking to me like that? But also how we can show leadership at home without being controlling. So we're going to talk about that as well. So last week we talked about this slow burn of resentment. And in the month of June, we're going to be talking all things marriage. That's what this 4-part series is really all about. The slow burn of resentment, like why that happens. That's what we talked about last week. And this week we're going to dive just a little bit deeper into why that resentment just sort of like just locks in. It's kind of like a tumor. I call this, the resentment is the polyp, that suddenly metastasizes if it goes unchecked for, a certain amount of time, metastasizes through the whole body or through the whole relationship. And then over time, the relationship unfortunately crumbles and dies because of this resentment factor. But we can actually overcome that. We can actually do better, and we can actually know better. We don't have to repeat the patterns of everyone else around us, all of our friends, maybe even our own parents. We can actually do better, but we have to know how to do better. And that's what this show today is all about. So I want to talk first about one of the things that your wife is probably harboring as far as resentment goes. And it's called invisible labor versus physical effort. So physical labor is this. It's what we see. Okay. So it's the dishes in the sink. It's the yard work. It's the laundry. It's getting the kids dressed. That's like the physical stuff. We see that all the time. The invisible labor is the stuff that she feels. So like, for instance, managing the calendar, remembering to RSVP to that birthday party, planning meals, tracking groceries, school events, vaccinations. Oh God, I don't even know why I said that, but you know what I mean? Like doctor's appointments, well visits, all these different things, school activities. Plus she's also anticipating everyone's emotional needs in the family and trying to keep the household running. And she's doing it mentally. And just to kind of give, a day in the life of your wife, she's probably thinking like, oh my gosh, okay, so she walks upstairs, She sees the dishes in the sink. She's like, okay, I got to do that. Then she goes into the bedroom and she sees like laundry on the floor, probably your stuff on the floor. Maybe your stuff is on the floor in the closet. Maybe there's, clippings of your beard in the sink or whatever. Maybe she's got, just an array of all her makeup and everything all over the sink, and the bed's not made, and there's laundry on the ground, and she's sitting there thinking like, oh my God, I have so much to do. Then she goes into the pantry, and then she's like, oh my gosh, we need food. I haven't gone to the grocery store in so long. And speaking of food, what am I going to make for dinner tonight? I don't even know what I'm going to make for dinner tonight. Like, what are we going to have tonight? What are we going to have tomorrow? I got to figure that out. Oh my gosh, Johnny has a practice tonight. I got to figure out, am I taking him? Is Larry taking him? I'm not really sure. Well, wait a second. If Johnny's got practice, then what am I going to do with Brandon, his little brother? Like, all of these things are taxing your wife. It is like this hamster on the wheel of invisible labor. And all the while, what she's doing is she's trying to balance all of it. Now, I am not here to say that we don't have our own invisible labor. Oh, dude, we do. Like, I don't even have to tell you guys the things that go through our mind on a daily basis. Like, I know for a fact, being a business owner and running this mission, I could easily at the start of the day make a list of 25 to-dos. And then as I cross off 5, 10 more come my way. And then I cross those off, and then 15 more come my way. And then I'm sitting there. Then after I get done with, my work and what I'm doing all day long, well, then I got to be dad, and then I've got to be husband, and then I've got to be emotionally available, physically available. I've been exhausted all day, been, beat down all day, or I've been whatever that day is. There's a lot of things that happen. Men go to battle all day long in our jobs. So a lot of times our wives don't even really realize all this stuff that we go through as men and all the invisible labor that we have. So there's a lot of push and pull here. And the thing that happens is our wives get resentful because of all the things that they feel that they have to do. Here's the thing too. She's not mad that you didn't do like the thing. Okay. So like, she's not necessarily mad that you left your laundry on the ground, or, or you left your beard clippings in the sink or something like that. She's exhausted that she had to see it, and now she doesn't know exactly what she has to do with it. She's like, okay, do I tell him about it? Do I clean it up myself? Do I do this? Do I do it? So it's a lot. It's a lot. So here's a real talk example. You fold the laundry, right? And you expect appreciation. And she's wondering, why did I even have to tell you that it needed to be done in the first place? That's the gap, right? So, and by the way, we're not mind readers as men. We're not. And we make one really big mistake. And here's what it is what can I help you with? What can I help you with? Now, listen, we all want to help our wives, and we all want to help around the house. But here's the thing. When we say like, how can I help you, or what can I help you with? That is actually adding more mental load to her plate, believe it or not. I know it sounds crazy, but her first knee-jerk reaction to that is like, well, wait a second. First of all, she doesn't like to be identified as someone who needs help, because like that's kind of when we ask like, hey, what can I help you with? A lot of women kind of feel like, well, crap, does it feel like I don't have this together? Does it look like I need help? Does it look like I'm floundering? So it kind of doesn't feel good for a woman when we ask like, how can I help you? The second thing is she's in her mind, she's like, okay, now I have to not only figure out what I need to do, but now I need to tell you what to do. And that's a lot for a woman to carry, because to be honest, here's how it really hits her. She feels like, and she looks at you like you're a man child. Like she's like, my gosh, you're an adult, I'm an adult. And if I have to tell you what you need to do around here, then I need to manage you just like our kids. And this is where our wives get really, really resentful. So I know what I'm saying here is like, well, gosh, man, I'm not a mind reader, and I'm not this, and I'm only trying to help. I'm going to give you guys some pearls here of what you can do that will overcome this, and that it will actually make you look more like a leader, and it'll actually make you look more attractive to your wife. And it'll put you in a position where your kids are looking up to you as well. So here's the thing. Let's talk about one more topic here, and that is why your wife feels like she's doing it all, even when you're helping. So helping doesn't equal partnering. It almost, helping isn't co-leadership. It's almost like having an assistant. And most of us will step up very reactively, right? Not proactively. And this makes her feel more like a project manager. So for instance, if we don't take initiative and really understand like, hey, what really needs to be done here? So like, let me give you an example. You might, this is a real example from like my house. I might come home or I might step out of my office and I see that the kitchen is a total mess, right? Like there's dishes everywhere, there's papers everywhere, there's kid stuff everywhere, there's dishes in the sink, there's pans on the stove, and it's 4:30 and we don't have dinner going yet. And I know for a fact my wife is like, oh my God, it's 4:30. The kitchen's a shit show right now. And I need to figure out dinner, or Larry needs to figure out dinner. I don't know who's doing it. And what I want to do is I want to go to my wife and be like, oh, hey, what can I help you with here? And I think that that's helpful. And in her mind, she's looking at everything being like, God bless, I'm so overwhelmed. Now I need to tell you what to do. Like, some of that doesn't feel fair, right? In a way, but it is what it is. And here's the thing. I know for a fact that I can just look at the kitchen and be like, well, I'm just going to tackle the dishes. I'm going to start cleaning up the counter, or maybe I'll start prepping dinner, one of those things, but I'll just take initiative and just start doing it. I used to ask all the time, and I couldn't figure out why this was like so annoying. And it was so annoying because my wife had to be like, God bless, I feel like I'm the only adult in this house. Like I have to tell everyone what their job is and tell everyone what they need to do. No one actually takes initiative and just sees the things that need to be done. And that makes me feel pretty resentful. It's like, it's kind of obvious, right? Now, this might not feel fair. And you guys might also be thinking like, dude, like, I feel like I do some of these things and she's still pissed and she's still resentful. But here's the thing. Over time, what she's really looking for is a partner. She's looking for someone to co-lead, right? Or you need to lead and she's the co-leader. And there are times where your wife is going to lead and you're the co-leader. But for the most part, what a leader does is he steps up and he just starts initiating action, right? He starts doing those things. Now, here's what we can start doing. We can actually show leadership at home without being controlling. So here's the thing. We are not a passive assistant in our home. We are a co-leader, but leadership doesn't mean taking over. It means taking initiative with empathy. So here's an example. So we can be really, really proactive with this stuff, not reactive with this stuff. Don't wait until your wife is completely stressed out, overwhelmed, the house is a mess, and you're like, hey, what can I do to help? Instead, say something like this. Hey, I've noticed this particular week coming up, it looks jam-packed, and I'm talking like real stuff here right now. My son, as I'm doing this podcast right now, my oldest son is getting ready to graduate. He's going to have a graduation party here. He is going to have friends over. His last day of school is actually on this day that I'm actually recording this particular podcast on May 20th. It's kind of crazy. But I know over the next week, she is planning graduation stuff. And there's a lot of it. Like she got a custom made banner and she got pictures to put all over. Every single picture that he had from preschool all the way to senior year, they're like plastered all over our house. She's trying to make this like super special. And here's the other thing too. I just got injured. I busted my patella tendon, had to get surgery. So now, not only is my wife trying to manage everything for graduation along with 3 other boys and their last days of school, but now she's trying to help me because I am a crap show right now. Like I'm on crutches right now. She's having to bring me coffee. The woman has to help me put my underwear on, guys. I'm not even kidding. So when you talk about adding more mental load to my wife, more invisible labor, I'm looking at her. I look at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see it on her face. I can see it on her face how overwhelmed she is. So what have I been doing? So first of all, I've been delegating, right? So I can see these things happening. I know we've got 4 very capable, wonderful boys. And I'm looking at the week and I'm like, man, like we've got a lot going on. We've got a kid graduating. Every kid's going to be done with school at the end of this week. We've got a graduation party. We've got a vacation the first part of June. We've got football camp coming up. We got a lot of things going on. Plus dad is injured. So I've noticed, so this is what you say. I've noticed that we've got a lot going on this week. In fact, this week is probably way heavier than any other week that we've had up until this point this year. And what is something that I can fully own without being asked? Now, this is not something that you ask her out. You don't go to her and ask this. This is something you ask yourself. I'm looking at this week, and what can I do that I can fully own without being asked? And I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, so with my kids, for instance, all my kids have a job, and all of them have been helping around the house every single night. All the kids have been helping with dinner. all the kids have been helping clean up, as they should. But now it's much more dialed in. It's much more precise. Everyone knows their job very, very specifically because dad, quite frankly, can't help right now. The other thing too, this is something we could ask. Hey, I noticed this week looks jam-packed. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take over making dinner on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I got that. And then offer that up and then just do it, right? The other thing too is that the kids' end of year school stuff, right? There's a lot of things going on that I can help with, that I can sit on my rear end and do. So like, for instance, one of the things I've been doing is helping my kids with homework at night. I mean, I'm sitting on my rear end, she can be mobile and I can do that stuff. So the other night, here's another example. We were sitting there at dinner and I asked her, I think we were just talking about the plan of what was happening after dinner. And she just mentioned, she was like, I need to help Colton with his essay tonight. He had to write an essay on birds. And she's like, I can't even believe that he's a third grader and he's got to write like an essay about golden finches. And I just looked at her. I said, I can do that. Like, I'll help him with that. And she's kind of looked at me and she's like, that would be great. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I can help with that. I'm sitting on my rear end anyway. Got it. So things like that. So be very cognizant of what your wife is saying out loud, because it's a breadcrumb of what's on her mind and what might be heavy for her. So she might be saying stuff like, man, the true story. We had a couch that broke that's under warranty. I guess it's just too many boys roughhousing on it and that kind of thing. And she was like, man, I got to find some time this week. I need to call the warranty company. I need to make an appointment for them to come out and take a look at our couch. And I need to get that started. I said, let me do that. I got that. I'm sitting on my rear end anyway. I'll call them. I'll initiate that. And I got that. And you could just tell that even when she's thinking out loud, she didn't ask me to do it. And she really wasn't even hinting me to do it. However, when we're observant like that, we can really help out, right? And I use that term very, very loosely, help out. It's our job to do these things, right? And not for her to wait to ask, and not for her to be like, well, she's a mind reader, she should ask me to help. No. You are a partner in this family. We are partners in this family. We are leaders of this family, and leaders don't wait. Leaders are proactive, not reactive, right? So here's a couple other things you can do as well. Just take a 2-minute audit and find out what she resents without asking her directly. So think about this. What has my wife had to ask me to do more than once? If your wife has had to ask you to do something more than once, chances are there is resentment that is associated with that. Also, what is a mental task I've seen her doing and I've never actually offered to take on? Here's a great example. My wife is she's always the one who makes the kids breakfast. And she has said in passing, like, I'm always the one making the kids breakfast. And that for me is a cue of like, let me take over breakfast, or let me do breakfast on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Something like that, to where, you can just simply see that something she's doing over and over again, and you can always help out with. Here's another thing. Here's another question as well. And this is something that I'm dealing with right now. If she got sick for a week, what would collapse? Right? If she got sick for a week, what would collapse? And if you really think about that, like if my wife was completely incapacitated and suddenly I had to make do and figure things out, I'm like, wow, there's a lot. There's a lot that she does. She is in charge of the grocery shopping. She is in charge of paying the bills. She's in charge of doing a lot of the meals, right? She's in charge of doing a lot of the stuff around the house so I can work. But if she got sick and got incapacitated, what would need to be done? Here's another one. What would happen if I got sick or incapacitated? What mental load would that put on her and the rest of the family? And brother, man, we are living this right now. With me being hurt right now and hobbling around on crutches, like there's always somebody, like I can't even get myself a cup of coffee right now, guys. Like I've got crutches and I can't hold a cup of coffee and bring it to my office. Like, so all you guys who, you're sitting there thinking like, man, life is stressful. Think about the fact, like, I can't even bring a cup of coffee into my office. I say that with a smile because it isn't always going to be that way, but it is what it is. So here's the thing. Be proactive when it comes to this stuff. Be observant when it comes to this stuff. Do not ask your wife, what can I help you with? That's a very blanket question. Instead, ask a question like, hey, I've noticed that we have a lot going on this week. It's the kid's last day of school on Friday. I know next week we've got Ethan's big graduation party. I know you're trying to hang banners. I know you're trying to get everything, special for him. We need to get a cake. We need to do this. We need to do that. And here's what I would like to offer. Let me order the cake, right? Let me order in all the decorations from Amazon. I'll get those all delivered. Let me, whatever it is, like, and by the way, I wouldn't say let me, I said, I will do these things, right? And then she can decide whether or not she wants to have control over those things or not. When it comes to some things, my wife in particular, she was like, no, I would like to handle that, especially when it comes to like decor and banners and that kind of thing. Like, however, when we say things like that, what we're telling her, what we're showing her is I am observant. I am seeing these things. I am not a passive person in this partnership, nor in this family, and nor do I expect you to tell me what to do, and nor do I expect you to, for me to ask you, what can I do to help? Because that really doesn't show a whole lot of initiative. So be observant, give details, let her know that you're seeing these things and you're offering to do some of these things, all of these things, whatever it is. But that's the best way to approach these things. It's going to take a lot of mental load off of her. She's already dealing with a lot. This really trips a lot of us guys up. And I know it used to trip me up big time too. And to be honest, guys, like as I close out today's podcast, I'm in a season right now where this is tough, man. Like not only do my wife and I do a lot, we both do a lot. We both pull our weight. But now my wife is really handling a whole lot more. So I need to be very creative with how I'm helping. And, it is what it is right now. So we're actually in a season where my wife's mental load and invisible labor is probably doubled. So I need to be really cognizant. I need to be really observant. Another thing I'm doing too is I'm making sure that she gets daily breaks. Like if she wants to go out and get a run, or if she wants to go work out, or if she wants to go out with her girlfriends, once a week, twice a week, whatever, just to get some reprieve or some respite around here, because it's a lot. That's what she needs to do. That keeps that resentment away. So, gentlemen, hopefully today's podcast was helpful for you guys. I know for me, when I first got married, I really, really wish I knew about this, because this is the unspoken stuff. This is like the silent killers of relationships. This is way less obvious than like, oh, we haven't had sex in like a week, or it's way less obvious of like, who's going to do the bills, or it's way less obvious of like, I'll cook dinner tonight. These things, they sort of take seed, this resentment and these unspoken things, and then they turn into absolute chaotic things in the relationship, so to speak. So, gents, from my heart to yours, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for being here. We're halfway through the year, and I'm a huge fan. You guys know me, that a brother out there should never do life alone. A brother out there should never, ever, ever try to go at this stuff alone. We are always better together. And if you think the podcast is good and you think the advice here is pretty good, what we do over in the Dad Edge Alliance and the Dad Edge Boardroom, it's on steroids, because we get to coach each other, help each other, give strategy like this with each other. And our guys in our group in the Alliance and in the boardroom, they're killing it. They're killing it because we are way more proactive on this kind of stuff than reactive. It's almost like it gives us these superpowers to be around guys who have the same vision and the same mission to live these fulfilling lives with our wives and our kids. So that's what we do in the Alliance. So all my career guys in the Alliance, that's for you. For all my business owners, the boardroom is for you. Head on over to thedadedge.com/mastermind if you guys want more information about that. Really appreciate that support. I really appreciate the support on the podcast, in which, by the way, if you guys are enjoying the podcast is free. The only thing I ask is if you're really loving what we're doing, leave us a review over on Apple, leave us a review on Spotify. The 5-star reviews get this type of information out to the masses, and I truly, truly appreciate you guys doing that. So from my heart to yours, gentlemen, go out, live legendary. Take care.